I am a comic, a producer, and I'm also a human being who has had all the regular share of pain and fear and grief. What I also have to tell you about me is I laugh at literally all of the worst times. And I want you to as well. Laughter is defined as the sound and motion of the face and body to the instinctive expression of lively amusement. It is instinctive. Laughter lives in our brains in the frontal lobe, where emotions are, jealousy and all the ones we don't want to think about, and all the good ones. But it also lives in our limbic system, deeper in our brain, next to the important ones like fear and hunger. Our brain is wired in two different ways to laugh. In fact, a brilliant neuroscientist, Dr. Sophie Scott, did an experiment where she took subjects from the UK, she took subjects from the Himbe tribe down in Africa, and she asked them to express various emotions to see which we could recognize across cultures, across the world. What she found was all of the negative ones, fear, anger, those were easily recognized back and forth. A lot of the positive ones were more difficult. We don't know what triumph looks like across the world, but laughter was as recognizable as any of the negative emotions. Why is that? Laughter seems like the most frivolous thing. Like when we laugh, that means nothing's important, right? Not true. Why is it so hardwired? And of course, it releases endorphins. It makes it easier to tolerate pain. But why? Why is it in there so deep? When my daughter was about 2, she was sitting on the floor playing on her feet. She went to stand up, and her feet had fallen asleep. She was 2 years old. She had no idea. She was terrified. She starts screaming and yelling. She's losing it. Mama, feet dead. Mama, feet dead. What? Why? And you know what my response was? I laughed. I laughed so hard at her. And I'm her mother. I should be comforting her. Here's the thing. If I'd have said, sweetheart, you just pinched a nerve and your brain lost a signal with your feet for just a minute. They're still there. You can see them. They'll be back shortly with you. That wouldn't have helped her. What do we do when we see children fall down? And we think to ourselves, oh, you're more scared than hurt. We laugh. There's nothing funnier than a child falling down and not actually hurting themselves. When we laugh, it is the fastest, most effective, most hardwired way for us to tell each other, it's okay. It's fine. How many of you, when you get startled, what is your immediate reaction as soon as you figure out it's just your butthole coworker? You get the giggles. If you're like me, every time I've tried to go ice skating, it's just 45 minutes of me nearly falling down. It should be prolonged stress, but it's some of the hardest I've ever laughed in my life. I think that there is something to this. 3 years ago, I made my way out of the most toxic and damaging relationship I had ever been in. A relationship that involved restraining orders and charges that I could not make stick. Afterwards, I was struck with panic attacks, nightmares. If I thought I saw his truck on the road, I had to pull over because I could not breathe. I found out shortly after that there were about a dozen other women that he had also been tormenting during our relationship, which doesn't make any sense because he's really not that cute. This dude had like no chin. It looked like he took a nap on a belt sander. Like just lip to collar. Very British looking. You guys see what I just did there? I told you something and I felt it. I felt it from you and I appreciate it. That was a hard, scary thing. But I'm fine now because I can make fun of him. And that's how you know. That's how we release the fear. That's how we release from it. That same relationship, we actually spoke, me and these other women. There was about a dozen total, about 6 of us got into a room because we had to figure it out. We talked to each other, we shared our experiences, we created a timeline. And at one point during this conversation, I was telling about experience I had had with him. We were driving down the road, he was upset with me, and he threw himself out of my car, which was absolutely an act meant to terrorize. It was a violent act. He did it to hurt me and to frighten me, and he did. But here's the thing. He looked real stupid when he did it. No, really, his shoulders locked up, and his head went back, and then he, flopped out of the car like this. Like when you hit a cartoon character with a 2x4 and they just, go rigid. And I started talking about it, and all of us went into hysterics for 20 minutes, rolling around in desk chairs, just rolling off of them over and over and over, tears, shrieking, kicking our feet. What an idiot. After that conversation with them, of course I found love and compassion and support, which helped me process a lot of things. But the most important thing I found, sure, the nightmares continued. Sure, the panic attacks continued, but they lessened. They lessened and they lessened. But what I do know is if I thought I saw his truck on the road, I didn't have to pull over for the same reasons as before. It was because I couldn't see, because I was crying, laughing, imagining a dead fish falling off of a table. That's what it does for us. That's why it's so important. Because of that relationship, I'm involved with a domestic violence support group. It's mostly online. I will share the information with anyone who needs it or knows someone who needs it. And again, we gather together and we talk about our shared experiences, which of course, we are social creatures, humans are. And it helps. But what we found, because of that conversation, what we found is what really helped is when we started cracking jokes. We decided that domestic abuse survivors should all work at the CIA because we're very good at keeping secrets. It's kind of a bummer joke. We realized that in our Facebook group, the algorithm told us that some of our most used words were couch and Netflix. Sometimes you just can't go out, man. We get it. Or when someone posted a screenshot at 3 in the morning because her ex was terrorizing her again, and one of us noticed that he had a Candy Crush notification. You can't be scared of somebody that's crushing candies at 3 in the morning, you know? Takes it out of it for us. And here's the thing. Laughter has been considered an analgesic, like it helps you soothe pain. I don't think that's true. I think that laughter, good, honest laughter, is our antibody to pain. It takes it before it even gets to us. Did you know that you are 30 times more likely to laugh with someone that you love? Or maybe someone that you love is 30 times more likely to make you laugh. Either way. What I want to encourage everyone to do today, we have a lot of heavy talks, but I want to encourage you to laugh. And in fact, I'm going to offer you personally from me something that I offer to any domestic abuse survivor I've ever met or anyone going through a hard time. Someone is hurting you. Someone is scaring you. Someone is taking over your brain and causing you problems. Bring me a picture and I will make fun of them so hard until they don't scare you anymore. And if you don't get it from me, like I said, you're going to laugh with someone you love even harder. Find someone else too. It's okay. How many times have you laughed at a funeral? What's our favorite scene in Steel Magnolias? Hit Weezer. Because it's okay to laugh, and you need it. It is wired into us to laugh. And in fact, the best way to take the teeth out of a monster is to use a Sharpie to black them out. Also draw devil horns and real stupid glasses and socks underneath it. With the X, let's be right, this is TEDx. And so that's what I want to do for all of you. I very much appreciate you listening to me and you letting me talk, but laugh about it. It's okay too.